Hello there. Before we get started today, I wanted to let you know that we're having a contest and giving 3 people the opportunity to win 2 free coaching sessions each. All you have to do to enter is to go on iTunes, give us a 5-star review, take a picture or a screen capture, and send it to info@theoptimumhuman.com. Then you'll be entered to win not just 1, but 2 coaching sessions with both Brian and myself. Please note we will be picking winners on July 15th, 2016, so do it today if you want a chance to win some free coaching.
Hey guys, welcome to the Optimum Human Podcast. Today we're talking to Matt Smith, a personal trainer, father, business coach, mindset coach, and all-around brilliant and great guy. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Matt's failed suicide attempt, how not to get the body you want, the importance of having the right mindset to get what you want, and keeping things simple. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to the Optimum Human Podcast, the show that interviews the world's top experts in fitness, nutrition, mindset, and beyond. Let's get into the show.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Optimum Human Podcast. Today we've got our friend Matt Smith from Droitwich, UK. So Matt, first thing that I want to ask you is give us your health journey in 2 minutes or less.
Okay, so when I was at school, I did the typical schoolboy thing. I say typical, it's probably different now with the way diets are going and stuff. But when I was at school, there was very much a big emphasis on sports. So I played a lot of sports. I was in most of the teams, rugby, football, that sort of stuff. Never the captain, but I was always in the teams. And I played a lot of golf. But when I passed my driving test at 17 years old, the sports kind of stopped, and I got into a crowd of people who we called it cruising from here in the UK, where you just get in your car after work and just go out and cruise around and try and look cool in a beat-up old car and playing loud music.
Yeah, I remember doing that.
I look back now, I'm just like, oh my God, is it douche? Do you call it? Do you say the word douche over there? Am I allowed to say that? I'm not sure. But
yeah, sure, why not?
Back at myself, I'm just like, oh my God, what a douche. But anyway, so I started smoking and eating fast food for about 3 or 4 years, and a lot of partying. About 3 nights a week, I'd go out drinking. And then one night on a night out, I was about 20, 21 years old. I was out with a friend, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. We had no money. We'd spent it all on booze and cigarettes. Had no money, and he said, "How are we going to get home?" Because we'd usually get a taxi, but we had no money. And he lived about 3 miles out of town. He said, "Oh, let's run. It's just down the road." And of course, when you're drunk, however far it is, it's only down the road, right? So about 300 yards into the run, I just couldn't breathe. I thought I was fit, but having done no sports since 17 and it being like 21, I was just at a point where I just couldn't breathe and I had to walk. And my friend ran home and he got home, and I got there about an hour later than him, dripping in sweat, couldn't breathe. And I was like, right, it's got to change. And from then, that's when I went on this journey of getting fitter. It was never about the six pack. It was never about the abs and the big muscles and looking great in a shirt. It was about just feeling better, feeling fitter, feeling healthier. And the side effects of that, as you probably know, are your body fat does go down when you start eating healthier and stuff. And when you start exercising more, body fat goes down, the muscle goes up if you start lifting weights, doing it properly. So that's kind of my background. I was in all right shape at school, started smoking, eating rubbish food, was out of shape. Thought I was going to die on a very short jog, and changed it around from there.
Awesome, man.
So how many years have you been living like this healthy lifestyle, Matt?
I've been kind of sporadically exercising for about 9 or 10 years, and I say sporadically because when it was 21, when I was doing that, I was chefing at the time, and I did a few different jobs. I did chefing. I tried to sell insurance, tried to sell houses, and it was 7 years ago. So in that time of 10 years ago and 7 years ago, those 3 years there, it was a bit of gym, maybe after work or before work, and a few odd runs, nothing too serious. And then when I was selling houses, the guy, my boss at the time, he said, Matt, you shouldn't sell houses because you're no good at it. He said, I can see you're driven. I can see you're motivated. You're a nice guy. Do you want my advice for being successful in life? And here's the bit where if people have a pen and paper, they write this bit down because it changed my life. And he said, do you want the secret to success? I was like, okay, go on then. And he said, just do two things in life. Do one where you're helping people, and do two, something that you enjoy. And I didn't enjoy selling houses. It kind of helped people if they had the right house, but I didn't enjoy it. So I was like, right, okay, at that moment, I was like, right, what do I enjoy and how can I help people? And at the time, I kind of enjoyed the gym and I enjoyed fitness and health. And you can help people if you became a personal trainer. So I became a personal trainer, and yeah, I've been kind of exercising, eating healthy-ish for about 7 years.
Right on.
Okay. Awesome. Now, certainly you're one of the top trainers in your area. What are I don't know, some of the most common things you see that people need to really focus on, like the top couple of things that you see as an over general pattern?
What result are these people looking for?
Well, what do they need as opposed to what they're looking for?
Yeah, like let's say your average client, when they come in, to see you, what's your average client look like? Like what are the problems? What do they need help with?
Okay, most of my personal training clients, if I look over the years, are between the ages of 40 and 60. That's about 80% of them. Some have obviously been younger and older, but about 80% between 40 and 60. These people have focused on everything else but themselves. They've focused on their career, their work. They've focused on their kids, maybe family members that suffering with ill health. Now, that might be their parents or grandparents, or it might be children or relatives. But what they've done is they've focused on everything else but themselves. And another knowledge bomb, if you want to call it that, my biggest bit of advice probably that I'm going to say today is take care of number one. Put yourself first. And I know it's a big cliche and it's banded around everywhere at the moment, but it's something I didn't do. I was this kind of person that just thought, I just want to help everybody else, and I kind of forgot about me. And I don't know if, Brian, you've read my story or not about when I became depressed at the end of 2014 and wanted to end it all.
I was actually going to ask you about that next.
Okay, we'll go there next then. So the main bit of advice I'd say is just put yourself first, and don't be afraid to put yourself first, because this will probably come up in the next bit, but you can't help others if you're in a bad situation yourself. Like most of these people, 40 to 60, put in work first. They're stressed. They haven't taken care of their health, so they're tired. They're overweight. They're unfit, so they just haven't got energy, physical or mental energy, to sustain anything long enough to be able to concentrate and get the result that they want. And everything else suffers. So if they're just focusing on their work, then their relationship will suffer, their friendships will suffer, and eventually work will suffer. So my biggest takeaway on that bit is putting yourself first, and that's what I get my clients to do. And funnily enough, when they put themselves first, they focus on their health and their well-being, not getting a six-pack or becoming a bikini competitor on stage. It's all great if you want to do that, but it's not my thing. When you start focusing on yourself, then every other area of your life just becomes better, because you've got the energy and the vibrancy to do the things well, and that's what pays.
Awesome. It's true. It's hard to, save somebody else from drowning if you're also drowning,
If you can't swim, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very, very strong point, and it applies to many areas of life. So definitely.
I agree.
Brian, your follow-up.
Yeah, so I know your story. You've told it to me, but I want to hear your story again of I believe it was about a year and a half ago now or so, and
it was
the rock bottom that you came to, and how you've managed to pull yourself out of that.
So 2014, the start and middle of 2014 was fantastic. I was the best position that I kind of had ever been in terms of business success. I was doing really well. I had personal training clients, group training clients, boot camps. I had other trainers working for me, running those programs. So I was earning money while I sleep, that big dream thing that everybody wants to do. I had online programs that were just ran by themselves. I had kind of everything, right? And I just gave my all to the business. But the problem was I forgot about myself. Like I just mentioned, my health started to deteriorate. I didn't spend much time with my family. And what I also did is I got into this thing of comparing myself to other people. I would look at other people who are doing better than me, and rather than where I come from now is a place of I'm inspired by anybody who's doing better than me. I'm inspired by them. And I want to know how they did what they did, whether that's finance and business, whether that's health, whether that's with their relationships, any area of their life. If they're doing better than me, I want to know how they did it. But then I was like, oh my God, that person's doing better than me. And I translated that to I'm not good enough. I'm not as good as them.
I can definitely relate to that.
But yeah, that's it. And I was coming from the completely wrong place. I was coming from a place of scarcity and lack and struggle instead of love and faith. So what happened was, after comparing myself to all these people, thinking I'm not good enough, then I started playing this story in my head that people would be better off without me. So my clients would be better off without me because I wasn't a good enough trainer, and they'd be better off going to find somebody else, or if I just wasn't there. My family, I'm not a good enough partner to my partner Connie, or I'm not a good enough dad to my son, and they'd probably be better off without me. I'm not a good enough son to my parents; they'd be better off without me. And I went into this very dark place, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I just finished the boot camp sessions that I was doing in the evening, one evening, November time, dark, cold, wet, typical English winter night. And I was driving home, and I thought, no, there's no point in driving home. This is just going to get worse and worse, so I'll just drive somewhere else. And these stories kept going on and on and on in my head. You're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not worthy of what you are having, and you're letting everybody else down around you, so you may as well not be here. And I text Connie saying, I can't remember exactly word for word, but it was something like, I love you, I love Jude, tell my parents I love them, but you're better off without me, goodbye. And I threw the phone down onto my seat, the passenger seat in the car next to me. And I got to this road, and I was thinking, how can I end it? How can I do something that makes sure, like, I won't just end up in hospital. It'll be ended. And I thought about driving off a bridge. Then I thought, oh no, because if the car doesn't sink, I'll float. Someone will tow me out, and I'll still be alive. I thought about driving into a tree. I thought, no, it's not definite death if that happens. And the only thing I could think of was driving head on into a lorry with my seatbelt undone. And then I was like, yeah, that's a surefire way to end it. So I undid my seatbelt, and I got to this straight road again. I remember it was like it was yesterday. It was this dark, wet night. And there was lights coming past me on the other side of the road, and I saw in the distance, I knew it was a lorry because it has, like, obviously the main headlights, but also the lights that are at the top of the front of the trailer, like about 2 meters off the floor. So I was like, that's a lorry. And at this point, he was about 200 yards away, so quite a way away. And I saw it coming towards me. I was like, this is it. This is how it's going to be done. And I pulled into his lane, and this lorry was getting closer and closer, and all I remember is my phone by the side of me lit up. It was flashing. It was Connie. Connie was calling me. It was on vibrate, and it lit up. And I tried to ignore it. I tried to ignore it. And something just made me pick it up. So I picked up the phone. It was hands-free, so I just pressed the button on my car, and she said hello. And I answered back, and I was like, hello. And something made me pull in away from that lorry. I couldn't do it while I was on the phone with Connie, so I pulled in away from the lorry. The lorry went past, I carried on. And then I pulled over, and she said, come home, whatever. And we spoke for a little bit. And the key turning point from that night, the reason why I'm still here, and I didn't just put the phone down and end it, was she said to me, she saw what I was doing without me saying what I was doing. She said, you need to stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Remember who you are, and just do you. And I sat with that for a bit, and sometimes when you get that feeling, something just feels right, like your guts tells you, yeah, that's right, your intuition tells you that's right, you should listen to that or do it. I had that, and I was like, yeah, that feels good. Let's sit with that for a bit. And I went home, we spoke for hours. And since that moment, like, everything's changed. I now, like I said, look at all these successful people. There's people that just inspire me. And if I want what they have, then I'll be like, I'll reach out to them. I'll message them. I'll join their coaching program, or I'll buy their stuff. And I'll be like, right, let's learn how they did it, rather than thinking that I'm no good. Because, again, kind of a bit of a selfish thing that a lot of people might struggle to wrap their head around. And I don't want to go too deep with it. But wherever I am right now, wherever you are, wherever anyone else is that's listening to this, you're enough where you are. You're enough where you are, and you're where you are for a reason.
Definitely.
And so that was the big shift. That's the story on that one. That's the big shift. That's what changed. Now I just focus on me, my own thing, what I want to do, what feels good, and just being the best version that I can be in whatever situation that I'm in.
For sure. I couldn't put it better myself. I mean, when I was younger, I struggled with quite a few years of depression and, like just bad thoughts and planning out how I would end it. And, you reach a point where it's like, there's no like kind of light at the end of the tunnel. It's just like there's darkness. But I mean, to anyone in that situation, like you kind of have to realize that life is the way that you perceive it, right? So like the more you're with this negative feedback, negative reinforcement on yourself, like I'm not good enough, you keep spiraling down, right? And if you're positive, if you're using, positive visualization, chances are you might get a bit of an ego, but you're emotionally going to be quite a bit healthier. So I can definitely relate to you on that point. Now, I just have a question, kind of change gears a little bit. You said you were pretty much at the top of your game, right? Like you had people working for you, you had online programs. Now, for any trainers or people looking to get into fitness, what would be the top 2 to 3 recommendations you would have to kind of not get to where you were, because everybody has different plans, but kind of to become successful in what you do as a trainer or fitness professional?
My only advice on that one would be is to find somebody who is where you want to be. Study them for a bit. Don't throw money at them straight away. Study them for a bit. Reach out to them. Build a connection with them. And do anything that you can, if it feels right, to work with them so that they can show you the way. That might be to enroll in their coaching program or buy their programs or whatever it is that they sell, or they hold their book or listen to their podcast. Could be anything. But my only advice on how to be successful at anything, whether that's I know this is probably going out to business owners and coaches and PTs and things like that, but with success at anything in life, find someone who is where you want to be or who can get you there via proven results with other people, right? Not just that they've got great copy on a one-page website or whatever. Yeah. See their proven results, or someone who is where you want to be, and just immerse yourself in whatever they tell you to do. That's my only advice on that one.
Yeah, that's great, man. I think it was Tony Robbins that said success leaves clues, and definitely find somebody that's done what you want to do, and just follow what they've done. Exactly. It really doesn't have to be any more complicated than that.
Yep.
No, people make it hard. They go and read all the books, they join all the Facebook groups, they read all the blogs, they listen to all the different podcasts, but everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone's got their own way to success. Like the way I built out my fitness business was very similar to the mentor that I had at the time, but it still had my kind of little touch to it. It didn't have a lot of other different mentors and things, touches to it. It just had my coach and my mentor at the time said, this is how I'm doing my business, this is how I'm successful in my business. Take what you want from that, put your own little spin on it, and create your own thing. And that's exactly what I did.
And Matt, what was the biggest thing that you took away from his kind of mentorship or coaching? Like if you can condense it down into one thing.
That's a fantastic question. Excuse me, fantastic Fantastic question.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
One thing that I took away from this thing.
Because sometimes there's a bit of an overarching kind of, how do I put it, this category that people place themselves in with either certain marketing or the way they train people or just the way that they run their business in general. Like they have this overarching theme. And so I'm just wondering if you were exposed to anything like that or if he gave you one hint that kind of changed the game. We can come back to it.
Only because I learned so much from him, right? I went to him from a point of I was this very reactive trainer, so I didn't really know what was working. Okay, here we go, tracking and measuring. This is probably the biggest takeaway for me is the tracking and measuring. Because what do they say? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it, or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. It was before I had a few posters up around the gym. And then I'd get some people call me one week, and then next week there'd be nothing, and then a few more people the week after. And I didn't know where these people were coming from because I had my stuff on a website. I had, like I said, posters around the gym. I had leaflets out there, flyers and stuff. I never really knew where my clients were coming from. But what he got me into was the whole like the paid advertising thing. But it was also when you're doing that yourself, because when you're starting out in your own business, when you haven't got people running your ads for you and designing your websites and stuff, you do everything, right? You do the training, the coaching. You build the programs out yourself, you do the advertising, the creation of the adverts, the pictures, everything. The good thing with that is you can kind of track what works. So if you put an advert out there, let's say just on Facebook, you want to drop a Facebook advert out there, the great thing with Facebook is you can put 3 different pictures with the same wording, the same copy, and then you can see where the people are coming from. So it might be one picture is really resonating with your audience and the other 2 not so much. So then you know that picture is the thing that you're going to be running with. And that was my biggest takeaway, I think, is track everything, record everything, because then you know to stop doing what doesn't work and you can really do more of what does. Same as kind of with fitness and diet, right? We all know that if you just eat a load of chocolate and sit on a sofa, that doesn't work. It's the same with building out your fitness business.
Like Easter.
Like you might, that's exactly it. It didn't work for me. Although I'm well fueled for today.
Wait, so you're saying I should not do that on a consistent basis?
The chocolate and sit on the sofa thing. It depends what your end goal is. Like if your end goal is to appear on TV as like the world's biggest human, then yeah, it's a surefire way to get there. But
maybe Jabba the Hutt. I want to be Jabba the Hutt in the new Han Solo movie.
Hey, I can't give you advice on that because I've not been there and done it myself. So.
Man.
There's some humility there. I love it.
There's some knowledge just dropping it. The analytics. That's very smart.
That's my biggest takeaway. Record everything, track what works and what doesn't, and do more of what does and less of what doesn't. I know that's an obvious statement, but that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, well, people don't always do the obvious.
Yeah, common sense is not always common, and sometimes it takes like to hear that to kind of finally for it to click. Like people like, oh, that makes sense. Kind of like, hey, if you eat like less potatoes at night, like you might start losing a bit of weight. Oh, that makes sense. But there's a very good point in there, and you talked about Facebook ads and this. So it's not just related to the fitness business. If you're in anything where you have your own business, that's great advice for from window washers to car dealerships. Just put stuff out there, track it, measure it, see what works, and continue doing what works. It's kind of like that 80-20 rule, that Pareto principle.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, stay in the 20%, you'll do well at anything.
Yeah. Brian, I feel like I'm hijacking Matt here. So.
I'm used to it, man.
Man.
This is great stuff, man. There's just we're only 22 minutes into this, and like my mind is blown. Just so much great information.
He's a pretty good guest so far, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty nice.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Having a bit of fun.
He's throwing on that accent too.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, speaking of which, speaking about that, I wanted to talk about a little bit about your diet and kind of what you do, what a day of eating looks like for Matt Smith, and then what does a day of eating look like for one of your clients?
Well, I think he just told us it was just Easter chocolates, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly. If we go on the past day, then it's not going to be a good representation. But no, you just mentioned it actually, is that 80-20 principle. And throughout the winter, 'cause it's been winter here in the UK, I've been kind of on the bulking phase, if you like, trying to put a little bit of size on, because I'm built like a jockey's daughter. So
Oh my goodness.
I have to try and build muscle. I have to do it, okay? Or else, like, my son will be handing me clothes rather than the other way around. So the winter for me is just building. So it's probably been around 60-40. 60% has been, I'm trying to think of the right wording. So I don't want to use the word clean or healthy eating, because everyone's like, oh, what's clean? What's healthy eating? 60% has been food that has either been in the water on land, grown or flown, right? That's the way I look at like healthy food. If it's been alive, then for me it's healthy. So your veggies, your fishes, your meat, things like that.
So pretty much stuff that doesn't come in boxes and packages and stuff like that,
yes,
like mainly
stuff that doesn't have an
unprocessed food.
advert. Yeah, that's it. The stuff that, like I said, doesn't need an advert to sell it on TV. And then the other 40% has kind of been that. Like, so like Friday night, Saturday night, I'll have had a takeaway or a pizza with maybe some ice cream after it with the missus, and not felt guilty for it. And then now this is so from 1st of April, it'll be more like 85-90% really healthy stuff that's unprocessed. That was living at one point, and probably 10%, if that, will be quote unquote cheap food. So that's my diet. That's what it's been. That's what it is. 3 liters of water a day, kind of as a standard. Some day it drops down a little bit, but I try and stay around the 3 liters of water. No other drink will, apart from a protein shake every now and again, will pass my lips. I am back on the coffee. I spent about 8 months off coffee, but I really missed the taste. And it wasn't that I needed coffee. It's just I just missed the taste of a good coffee. You know, it's none of this
Addiction sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not that at all.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Like, I mean, I love it, but at the same time, it's easy to get caught on that coffee train, right? And then you start to feel like you need it, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
how do you
But
kind of manage that?
how do I just wake up in the morning and listen to my feelings, and I'm like, do I feel like I need a coffee? And if it's that, then I'm looking straight at my diet for the last couple of days. I'm like, why does it feel like I need a coffee? What's gone on there with my digestive system and sleep and stuff? Because that's probably usually where it stems from, needing a coffee thing. And then other mornings, if I wake up and I don't need a coffee, but I'm just like, yeah, I want the taste of the coffee, then I'll have a coffee.
Awesome.
So that's where the coffee thing comes from. So yeah, that's kind of where my diet's been. That's where it's going. And with my client, again, all I ever recommend to them is 80-20, because my clients aren't looking to step on stage as bodybuilding competitors. My clients want to feel better. They want to have more energy. They want to be a little bit more confident. That's basically what they want to do. And I tell them, listen, if you eat the foods that are going to make you feel better, you're going to feel better. And if you're going to not eat the foods that feel better, you're probably not going to feel better. So, and again, I just leave it up to them. I'm not one of these trainers that will shout at my clients or try and motivate my clients. Now, some people out there might be saying, yeah, but that's why they hire a trainer. I'm like, listen, if you have to hire me to motivate you, then what happens if I'm not there? Are you then going to say, well, I ate the pizza because you wasn't there to motivate me? I'm more about, and again, I don't want to be the woo-woo guy that says these big words and stuff, because I'm trying to move away from it. I spent a bit of time on it. But what I try and do is I try and empower my clients to not need me and instead want me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's definitely about like giving people the knowledge and allowing them to make either a good choice or a bad choice, or even no choice, which is a choice in and of itself.
That's exactly it. Then they feel better, because they're the ones that are, and I tell them, like, every choice that you do make, even if you don't make a choice, it's still a choice. Every choice you do make is absolutely fine as long as you learn the lesson from it.
Now, Matt, kind of feeding off of that, you said you empower your clients, right? So, what's kind of like the biggest method you use to kind of get them on the right path? Because it can be a very slippery slope where, you're like, oh, you didn't get your diet plan written down, like, that's fine, just do it next week. So like, what's your like your big kind of tool? Like, what do you go to?
Questions. The main question that I always ask is, how does that make you feel? So if somebody comes in and said, "Oh, I had a really bad weekend. I ate out every day. It was all processed food. I drank wine. I was really lazy. I'm not. I used to be the trainer that said, no, that's terrible. You shouldn't do that. You want to lose weight. Let's look at your goals again and let's reassess and reevaluate and look at back and blah blah blah."
Yep.
And it never really got me anywhere. It just got me more frustrated. So now I'm just like, hey, listen, that is what it is. That's the past. How did it make you feel that you did that? And then they'll usually come back with, "Oh shit," or "terrible." Sorry,
you can swear. That's fine.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Yeah, I didn't feel good." I was like, "Cool. So what's the lesson?" "Well, if I do that, then I don't feel good." I was like, "Okay. Do you think you've moved towards your goals if you're doing that?" And they're like, "Well, no." Then we'll go into well, what are your goals? Why were your goals important? Why is it important not to have the consequences of not reaching your goal? And that's the big one for me. So when people come to me, I don't just say, "What's your goal and why do you want it? And let's walk towards that." I'll also say, "What's the consequences if you don't hit your goal?" So if I've got a 55-year-old guy who's overweight, you guys work in pounds over there, right?
Yep.
So like a 5'10" guy at 200 pounds, is that classed as overweight for you guys over there, or is that like the norm?
A little bit.
You know, it's like a little bit, but over here, like
300 pounds, then is that overweight?
yeah, let's say that's like that's
obese.
overweight. That's obese. That's like danger level.
Yeah, so if he came to me and said, "Right, okay, I'm 300 pounds, I'm 55, I've either got my own business or I'm quite high up in my career, so I'm quite stressed with all the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm also a family man," I'll say, "Cool, what are your goals?" And he'll talk to me about losing weight, being able to play with his kids, and feeling healthy and not being stressed and tired all the time. And also then when their kids have kids, that he can play with his grandkids and pick them up and stuff. That's a common thing with guys around that age. So I'll go, "Great, what are the consequences if you don't hit your goal?" And then they'll go, "Oh, I'd never really thought about that." I was like, "Right, okay, let's go there if it's okay with you." Again, permission-based coaching, which is what I like to do, is ask if it's okay to go there. And then they'll say something like, "Well, okay, the consequences is I'll just put on more weight." Cool, what's the consequences of that? If we look at the statistics and the science and what's out there, oh, okay, then we go down the road of like heart attacks and strokes and probably diabetes at that weight anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
But then if diabetes gets bad, then you're looking at losing limbs, losing your eyesight. It's not that much fun having your grandkids around if you can't, one, see them, two, run around with them. You know, that's not much fun. So a lot of people, what I've found is, will move away from the stick quicker than they'll move towards the carrot.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of why I like going there with them. So even if I've got a client for a day or a client for a year, I'll look at what their past actions have been, ask them what the consequences are if they're happy with it, and if not, then what do we get to do to move forwards? And that's how I empower my clients, is going, right, what do you get to do to move forwards? Let them make the decision. For me, that's how to empower the clients. Come up with the answers and then choose to make the decision or not, because they're still empowered. Whether they make the decision or not, it's them that have come up with the decision they've made, and it's them that's chose to take the action, so that they're empowered then.
Yep.
They're not a victim anymore.
And doing nothing is also, it's still choosing, right? So you choose to do nothing or you choose to do something. So once you give them that kind of arsenal, it is up to them in the end of the day. Like,
definitely.
You're not going to drag them out of bed and, get them doing push-ups unless it's like the Biggest Loser or whatever program is out there now.
That's it. That might work for the time that they're doing it, but take the trainer away. Are they still going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do those? But are they going to pull themselves out of bed? Probably not.
A lot of those people, they kind of relapse. They gain all the weight back, and
usually more.
Yeah, sometimes more. Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So, I've noticed throughout our conversation, you're very mindset focused and very mental.
I'm very mental, yes, Brian.
Well,
Brian, don't insult our guest. We might want to have him back.
Not quite where I was going with that, but nonetheless.
You're a lunatic, Matt.
Well, he's in good company.
Yeah.
No, but very mindset focused. Is that something that you focus on, or do you do some of that coaching?
Definitely. Coming off the back of the comment that was just said then, about wait there, my mind's gone off in about 4 or 5 different places on that one.
Mindset, coming up with the answer for your clients, empowering them.
Yeah, that's it. So what I found, that's it. The people relapse and go back to the weight that they were before. So what was happening when I first started out as a PT and being the motivational guy and doing the dragging, not actually physically dragging people out of bed, but I'd text if they didn't turn up for the session, and I'd shout at them all the way through the session, and I'd get them crawling out of the gym. I was that trainer, and great results short term, amazing results. Probably 95% of my clients got great results short term, but then they stopped doing the training on their own. Then they stopped with the diet when they were on their own. Then if they did stop with me, they'd phone me a year later saying, "Oh my God, I piled all the weight back on." And I'm just like, well, what's with this? Like, what's the reason why? So I started looking into that, and I realized it wasn't just about having the trainer shouting at you. It was about the mindset behind it. And so I went there. I read a lot of books about mindset, a lot of books about coaching, and realized that, again, you'll know this, and a lot of people out there will know this, like, success with everything is, for me, it's probably 95% mindset. Like, if that's out, then you're probably not going to get to where you want to get to. So I do focus a lot on mindset in my clients. I do focus a lot with coaching my clients rather than just dictating to my clients. And if there's new trainers out there, I don't want to be the guy that tells you what to do, but again, track and record. So if you're a new trainer, record the results you're getting with your clients with the way that you're doing it. If that's working long term and you're changing lives and transforming lives, cool, keep doing that. But if you're getting the message that I kept getting, which was clients aren't getting results long term, they're falling off the wagon after they've got their great results, then work out why that's happening. And it might be because that you're just dictating to your clients instead of actually coaching them and asking them questions. So yeah, to answer your question, Brian, I do focus a lot with mindset. A lot.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. It is, hugely, hugely important.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah.
So I have a question. You were talking about that you read a ton of books. Do any books kind of pop to mind that really helped you, kind of gave you some aha moments?
Again, great question, but I would ask if you want me to be more specific in aha moments with what? With business, with personal, with relationships,
with mindset, right? So you were saying you're reading a lot of books about mindset, kind of stuff like that. So would you say there's like a top book you would recommend to other people looking to change their mindset or change their clients' mindsets, or like what resources did you find very helpful?
For me, one of the best books is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the Bible of the whole mindset thing. And I honestly think anybody on the planet should read that. Anybody at all. It's one of the best books. Yeah, that's what I would say. And in terms of coaching clients, there's a book out there called Motivational Interviewing, and that's a good book.
Yeah, I've heard of both of these. I even heard they came out with a Psycho-Cybernetics 2. Did you manage to read that or hear about that at all?
I didn't go there. I mean, the only one I've got is Psycho-Cybernetics. This is the 3rd edition. I think Dan Kennedy plays a part in this one. The great copywriter Dan Kennedy.
Yep, he's definitely made a name for himself in quite a few different ways. Yeah. Brian, I'm gonna throw it back to you now.
Yeah, absolutely. So our podcast, The Optimum Human. So Matt, my question to you is, you can answer this one of two ways. Who is somebody that you would consider an optimum human, or what do you think makes up an optimum human?
Fantastic question, and I'll answer it with this. Anybody, it's not probably the best answer you're looking for, but I would class you as an optimum human if you are truly happy.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about how you look. It's not. Sorry to interrupt that, but for me, it's not about how you look. I'm not going to say Arnold Schwarzenegger is the optimum human. I'm not going to say Steve Jobs was the optimum human because he what he created. I'm not going to say Bill Gates is the optimum human because of either the money or whatever. I'm not going to say Kim Kardashian is the optimum human because she's made everything out of nothing. I'm not, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't say any one person is the optimum human because everybody's different. But I'll say you can't. I think anybody can be as long as they're happy. Then if you're truly happy, like truly happy, then I'll say, yeah, you're the optimum human because I think that's. Hang on, is that why we're here, to be truly happy? I'm not sure.
I think it's should be our natural state, you know, for the most part, you know, and people have kind of forgotten all about it. But dude, that's a great answer. And
I noticed the simplicity of your answers to the majority of questions is just it doesn't get much more simple. I love it.
That's what Einstein said, right? Everything should be made simple and no simpler.
Yeah.
Yes, the guy that's come up with some of the most complex things in the world.
Ironic, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man. So, Brian, it's all you, man. I'm.
You're tapped out.
Well, I'm not tapped out, but I'm thinking of things. I'm trying to find a way to throw Matt under the bus, but he's making it very hard right now.
Yeah, no, he's been a fantastic guest.
He's
been the optimum guest.
The optimum guest.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the accent doesn't hurt either.
No.
Keep taking it back to the accent. But maybe we'll swap out me and we'll just put Matt in my place so people actually listen to this thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I probably wouldn't be as good as asking questions as you are, Claude.
Oh, you're a flatterer. You know, you are a charmer, sir. Thank you. You made me blush.
Wow. Here I am over in the corner, but nonetheless. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of running out of questions myself. Claude, I'm gonna turn it over to you for a minute, and then we'll finish up with usually our usual final questions.
Awesome. So Matt, I heard that recently, I don't know if it was training related, but apparently you had a hernia or something similar like that. Do you want to talk about that?
You can do. I mean, I'm not sure how it would give value to your listeners by me going on about having a hernia.
Was it like training related? Like could people avoid, you know, kind of doing it? Was it a freak accident? Like, you know, I'm just trying.
Really straight. Like I've had one before. Okay, so I had a hernia before when I was about 17, 18, when I kind of did a little bit at the gym. But I still don't remember exactly how I gave it to myself then. But this time, it was a week ago on Friday. I'd done my workout in the gym. It was an upper body workout. And in fact, I didn't actually feel that good in the workout. It was just one of those workouts, you know, when you're just doing it and you're like, just don't feel like, wasn't feeling it. And there's two ways you can do with that. Obviously, you can go, no, that's the one you got to push through. Or for me, I'm like, no, I'm just listening to my body. And I was just like, I'm not feeling it. So I went and chilled out in the sauna, lay down for half an hour. As I sat up, I felt this pain down in my groin. And I was like, that's a bit weird. So then I had a feel, and there was this nice big lump sat there. And I was like, oh, great. So I tried to get up. That wasn't happening. So I sat just outside the sauna on a chair for about half an hour thinking what the hell I was going to do because I couldn't walk. Anyway, I managed to hobble to the car, somehow drove over to A&E, sat there for 4.5, 5 hours to have it confirmed what it actually was. I knew it was a hernia because I had one before, and the surgeon said, yeah, definitely a hernia. You've got to get booked in for an operation. I was like, cool, I'll do that now if we can do that. He said, no, you've got to go to this is a rant at the system in the UK. And I don't usually rant about stuff, but I'm only saying it because someone might hear it and change the system. That's why I'm saying it. But the surgeon was stood there. The guy who was probably going to operate on me was stood there with his computer right next to him, and he said, okay, you've got to go down to your local GP surgery to get referred back to the hospital for a date for your operation. I was like, cool, you're here, there's your computer, can you just like scan through the dates and book me in? No, we used to do it that way, but now we don't anymore. So I'm just like, yeah, it's one of those things, but it's the way it is, I suppose. So I still haven't been back to the GP yet, because since then it's got like less painful. I'm able to move around. I can't lift, so like I said with my training, the good thing is I've done most of my bulking stuff. So I've done most of my deadlifts and squats and things that I was doing through the winter. But I can't lift loads, so now it's just cardio for a little bit until I decide to go and get booked in for a hernia. But for me, it's a minor speed bump. It's not even a roadblock. It's just something that life throws at you to test you, and it's how you respond to it rather than like react to it. Because I could have reacted badly. I could have gone stressed and gone, oh no, training's out the window, and I could have just eaten a load of food and thought, what's the point? But I'm like, nah, it's one of those things. Just keep going.
Exactly. And yeah, you can be like, oh, I'm going to drink my sorrows away. Or you're going to be like, this happens. This is what it is. I'm going to get through it.
Yep.
Now, what I'm actually curious, when you were 17 and you had a hernia, did you go in for surgery then?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And is this like the same spot, or I'm just kind of curious because
exactly the same. It's exactly the same one.
Yeah, that's generally what happens when one area kind of gives out, that place keeps giving out. So
that is the weakest link. Goodbye. There's my British accent impression.
Oh man, there's Brian. We're gonna have to delete this whole thing, start it all over again.
Right. Now here, I got a question for you. Talking about the whole system thing, and certainly not to be, I can't remember the word for it, but anyways, certainly every country, system, whatever, has their own problems. But over here in the U.S., man, we have some serious health problems. I know you're connected throughout the world. What do you think the U.S. is doing wrong?
Looking from the outside in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Putting too much fear among the minds of the people. Now, why does that have an effect? Because my take on this is there might not be a study to this, or might be a study to completely prove me wrong, but my reasoning on this is people want to feel good, right? People want to feel happy. And when we were children, we were at our happiest until maybe we fell over and we stubbed our toe or broke our wrist or something when we were younger. And what happens when we have something go wrong when we're younger, or we hurt ourselves, or we're in pain, is parents or carers or guardians or whatever the politically correct term is for someone who looks after you when you're younger, they come to you and comfort you. But they don't just comfort you with words. They comfort you a lot of the time, this is from my experience, with sugary foods. Okay, with sugary foods. So it might be some sweets, it might be some chocolate or candy, I think you call it out there. And what I believe happens is as we go through into adulthood, whenever we have something that happens to us that doesn't leave us feeling good, so when we feel down, depressed, upset, or fearful, our brains search for the memory of feeling good, and it'll go very, very quickly, and it'll go, right, when was the last time you felt good, or what happened when you felt good? Oh yeah, the hormone in the brain was released, the serotonin, the dopamine, the feel-good hormone. What did you do to get that feeling? Oh, I remember there was a time when you exercised and you had it afterwards, but then you got to go to the gym, you got to work out, you got to maybe or go for a run or get your gym stuff ready, and you got to do all this effort. Or there was another time when you ate a bit of candy. Or when you had some alcohol, or when you had some drugs, or when you went out drinking or partying. Those are the times your brain remembers that you felt good. So you jump straight in and go to those. That is caused by, I think, so much fear being thrown in front of the people. And all I see coming out of the US is talk of terrorism, talk of shooting, talks of murder, talks of all these really bad things. I'm sure there's a lot of things going on, but all I see is a lot of good things going on, but all I see is a lot of bad, a lot of negative. And that just puts people into a negative state of mind. And then their brains, like I said, search for the good feelings. How do they get that? By eating bad food, drinking bad drinks. And then it's that downward spiral. Oh, I'm overweight. I feel terrible. Oh, wait, and the last time I felt good was when I had some Ben & Jerry's. So other ice creams are available. So I'll go and have some ice cream, because that was the last time I felt good. Oh, now I feel terrible for eating a tub of ice cream. Well, just eat another one. You felt good when you were eating it. And it's that downward spiral. So I think not just the US, but we're getting that way. I think Australia are going that way as well. I think stop with the fear. Stop with surrounding yourself with negativity and drama. and go and hang out with people who are where you want to be. Coming full circle to what I said at the start. Go and hang around with people who are happy, people who are healthy, people who are in good shape with their bodies, people who have got a good business or doing well at work, people who have got great relationships with their kids, with their parents, with their spouses, with their cousins, uncles, aunties, people that are just happy. Go and spend time with them, see what they do.
Yeah,
That's a fantastic answer.
absolutely.
Now, I had a kind of not necessarily a direct follow-up, but I do notice you're more like mindful of mindset and goals and thinking outside the box. So what's your current area of focus in either what you're studying right now or in your business? What are you doing right now that's different than, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago?
That's an awesome question, and it's a very simple answer to it. It's staying in the now, focusing on the now, focusing on what I can do right now to either move me towards where I want to be or just to be the best version of me right now.
Right on. And where do you want to be? Like I mean, I hate to press you like that, but like, do you have defined goals for yourself? Like, let's say like 5 years or next year. Like, what is your ideal kind of place?
I used to do that, but it never served me. So there's a lot of people out there that say you've got to have clear goals, and I get that. Yes, you do. But for me, it's like I said, staying in the now, doing what feels right now. So I'm always checking in with my emotions. So, for example, with my body, I just want to feel better. I want to feel healthy. Again, it's not that six pack that I'm chasing or stepping on stage or being like a superhero dad. I'm just like, right, what can I do now to just keep me healthy or make me healthier? Because there's options and choices everywhere. I can go to the shop and I can buy a can of soda, or I can go and buy a bottle of water. Which one, to me, if I ask the question, which one's going to make me feel better? Water's going to make me feel better. So I make logical choices. I try not to get too emotionally attached to stuff. Yes, I'm in tune with my feelings, but I try not to get too involved with my emotions. That make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. And anyone who's kind of read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle kind of realizes that, like you can like step back and watch yourself make decisions and have emotions. And instead of being like, I'm angry, be like, oh, wow, Claude is angry right now. That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I love that approach. It's changed my life completely. So
yeah. Now, could you kind of walk us through your method of checking in with yourself?
Yeah, sure. It's just stop and tune into my feelings. So I'll either go and take myself somewhere that's quiet, and I'll just sit and go like, right, how am I feeling now about my business? How am I feeling about my body and my health? How am I feeling about my mental clarity? How am I feeling about the relationship with my kids, the relationship with my parents? And just ask the question. You can have them written down. I know some people have like a reminder on their phone where their alarm goes off every hour. But because I've practiced this whole tune into my feelings thing, now when I first heard this tune into your feelings, I was like, no, chase the goal. I want to become a millionaire. Screw the feeling stuff. Let's just do everything I can to go and be that millionaire or whatever, or have the six pack and get on stage. And it never, like I say, it never worked. It just caused me too much stress, too much anxiety. And also the depression kicks back in because you're like, oh, my goal is this. But then if your goal is that, you're telling yourself you haven't got it now, and then you feel bad. If you're not careful, that can happen. And that's what happened to me. So I was like, right, now, no, I'm just going to check in and just see how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to do it because, like you said, like if you set these goals and then you realize, oh, I'm not there. Generally, we've been taught that it's a negative thing not to be where we want to be, right? So instead of seeing it like a journey, we see it more of a failure, right? And as soon as you start doing that, it just it goes downhill. So I think it's a very clever way that you've found to keep moving forward in a healthy way and without that negative impact of that goals can sometimes have. Like they can be useful, but they also can be destructive. So
completely agree. Like, here's the thing. Like, if it works for you, then do it. I know this again sounds obvious. If it works for you, do it. If it doesn't, don't. Like the other day, I'm doing a 30-day challenge at the moment through my fitness business of helping people get into shape and feel better in 30 days. And I'm posting a little video each day of what someone can do to make them feel better. And somebody, I said, ask any questions. And someone said, I'm trying to lose fat off my thighs, legs, and bum. I've been doing a slimming club and going to the gym, but it's not working. Any advice? I'm like, yeah, stop doing that for a start.
Right.
you know, like come from there. And like we laugh about it, but I think we laugh about it because it's so simple, we miss it.
Yep, definitely.
People have been told, oh, persistence is key to success. Well, yeah, if you're on the right road, if you're going the right way, and if you're doing what works. Like, there's no point in me persistently running the wrong way. Hey, persistence is going to get me there eventually. I can go from here to 10 yards in front of me if I persistently run the wrong way, because I can go all the way around the world, or I can just go from here to where I want to go 10 yards in front of me.
And persistently beat my head against a wall and eventually knock myself out, but that's not exactly what I was aiming for.
You're not going to get through that wall, right? I mean,
no.
Persistence, pursuing the wrong thing will not garner you results. I mean, people have been taught kind of like, just do it and you'll get there, and, you know, like, just make it happen. But no, you have to approach it in a kind of like bringing it back to what you said about being analytical and tracking and measuring. If it's not working, stop doing it. It's like,
that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's
like Gary Vaynerchuk said it best once. Gary Vaynerchuk said it, and he said, oh, I work like 17, 18 hours a day or something. And then someone says, oh, yeah, I'm working harder than you. I'm working 20 hours a day. And then Gary Vee is just like, yeah, well, I'm working smart too. Now what? And I think that's it. It's, working. Look, like, everyone's raving about this whole thing of working 18, 20 hours a day. Listen, if that works for you, it clearly works for him. So he's going to keep doing it. But for some people, it would kill them. It would kill their relationships.
I would die instantly.
You know, like working 20 hours. I can't physically, I can't do that myself either. It's not that I lack passion for what I do. It's, listen, I've got a family and myself to take care of first. You know? So the way I do it works for me. That might not work for you or Gary Vee or anybody else out there, but it works for me, which is why I do it. So, again, track and measure. If what you're doing is working, do it. If it doesn't, then stop doing it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Now, we want to be respectful of your time. I know you've got a busy afternoon. A couple of final questions. Who would you want to hear on this podcast, and what would you want to hear them talk about?
That's an incredible question. We can get anyone. Sir Richard Branson. Well, we'll see. Eventually, maybe. But anyone that comes to mind.
Could get anybody.
Hey, sky's the limit, man. No limitations.
Okay, I'm gonna throw something just completely different back at you, an answer that you're probably not going to be wanting to hear, and it's probably not going to help you or your. It might help you and your listeners. I don't know. For me, right now, with where I'm at, I don't want to listen to anybody else. I want to go and take action on the stuff that I already have in my head.
Right on.
So for me, taking stuff in is just more. I know this isn't going to sell your podcast very well, but for me, taking stuff more in now is a form of procrastination. I've got work to do, myself, my business, my family, before I go and learn anything else.
It's an incredible answer. I love it. I mean, you're right. It doesn't help us a whole lot, but I love that answer.
Well, the great thing is, Matt.
Who's your audience, guys? Sorry to interrupt. Who's your audience? And I might be able to recommend somebody that your audience would benefit from listening to.
Well, I'm just going to interject something before I can forget. But you know what? That's amazing that you said that you're going to listen to yourself, because you can be one of our downloads. You can download it, listen to this interview, and boom, mission accomplished.
There you go.
Yeah, our listeners, generally, let's say 30 to 55, they're more, let's say, just people who maybe have not gotten into the fitness world as much as we are, but they're interested in kind of changing their lives, maybe changing their businesses, and just being more health-minded.
Want to strive to become a better human.
Yeah, optimum human, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then in that case, well, obviously you've got like the likes of Tony Robbins, who's got like the whole success thing planned out, and he's got some great resources and courses out there that people can learn from, and listening to him always motivates or inspires. I think Eric Thomas is a great guy for terms of motivate. If you want to motivate people, then he, like ET, is like one of the guys out there as well. It's a shame Greg Plitt still isn't on this planet, because he'd have been a great guest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think anybody who's living the life that your audience want to live, like get them on.
Perfect.
Right on. Right on.
All right. So, final question. How can our listeners find out more about you? Where can they contact you?
They can go to my personal Facebook, come and add me on as a friend on Facebook, but don't just add me and then do nothing else. I like to make connections with people. So add me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Matt Smith 2310. Matt Smith 2310, that's with 2 T's. My fitness business is my personal trainer, droidtwitch.co.uk. And I also have a little blog that I do now and again, which is thenextlevelbreakthroughcoach.com, thenextlevelbreakthroughcoach. So you can find me in a few different places. Best places on Facebook, facebook.com/Matt Smith 2310. I hang out on there a lot.
All right. We'll put that stuff in the show notes so people can see that all and click on all of it. And any kind of parting thoughts, that you want to either tell people, like stuff you're working on right now, or just anything you want to say before we wrap up? Any programs you've got going and starting maybe in a couple months, depending on when this thing comes out?
Yeah, I'm a big creator. I like creating stuff and putting stuff out there. So I'm always doing something. But my closing thought would just be to listen to your gut, because that will serve you. Do what feels right in the moment and stay in the moment. Don't go into the future of what if, and don't spend any time in the past, because that's completely gone. Stay in the now, and I think that's it.
Awesome. Those are actually like solid words. Like, people need to hear that more often, and not only hear it, but apply it too. So I just want to say
that's the best thing. Yeah, application. Yeah, 100%.
You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't do something with it, it may as well be what do you call it? Rubbish.
That's it. It's definitely garbage or trash.
Trash. Well, Matt, thank you very much for coming on the show. I mean, I love your energy. I love your accent again for probably the 400th time that I talk about it. Just so charming. I picture you like sipping tea, wearing a monocle right now. You're gonna go fox hunting.
Maybe in 10 years.
You're gonna go fox hunting in the next 15 minutes and with your hounds and stuff. Maybe that's a stereotype.
I like how you're very, very not stereotypical, Claude. I like that.
No, I judge on the fly. I don't even let stereotypes affect me at all. So yeah, thank you very much, man, for coming on the show. You've been a great guest. I think you've
been great.
You've given some awesome value to the listeners, and we definitely are going to tell people to add Matt as a friend. I honestly was not going to add him as a friend. I'm like, you can't trust the British. But now I'm going to go on. I'm going to go facebook.com/Matt Smith with 2 T's, right, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah, 2310, and I'm going to add him right now, and I'm just going to keep flattering him with compliments and stereotypes. Brian, it's on you, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Matt, appreciate your time, and look forward to hopefully doing this again in the future.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much for giving me your time. You've spent over an hour with me, so I definitely appreciate your time. And both of you, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you very, very much for giving me the opportunity to share a bit of my message with any of the listeners that are out there, and I just hope it's helped them in some way.
I think it will, and thank you for being able to bear with us this long. I know, like, we're terrible people, so this just shows this shows how the strength of your character to deal with Brian and me for an hour or more. Oh man, but thank you again, and we'll talk soon. So we wish you a great day, great week, and we'll get together soon on the interwebs.
Absolutely,
definitely.
Cheers,
definitely,
mate.
Claude. Thank you very much, and Brian, thank you very much, guys. Great questions today. Thank you very much. You take care.
Great answers, man. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Optimum Human Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to head on over to iTunes and give a 5-star rating and review, which will help spread the word to more awesome listeners just like you. Head on over to theoptimumhuman.com and subscribe to the free newsletter and get the Optimum Humans Blueprint to the Optimum Life. Download it instantly. Thanks for listening.